Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and while I personally love the beach, and that's partly why I live less than a mile from the beach right now, my husband is more of a mountain type person, so I'm grateful to him for that because I actually had the chance to visit Snowbird Resort in Utah last month, and while I did not go downhill skiing because I'm a little clumsy, and I did ski the Alps once in high school, and so retired after that. But I did get to enjoy some snowshoeing for the first time, and I met this awesome guy who is our guest today, crazy snowshoe guy, while I was learning to snowshoe at the Snowbird Resort. And he's my guest today after our conversation snowshoeing, and we are going to chat for more than 15 minutes, but Greg has a lot of great tips to share about snowshoeing and his story, and I find him to be very inspirational in general, in addition to his take on fitness and snowshoeing and just living an active lifestyle in particular. So I hope you're going to be okay with us going over 15 minutes, and if you're out on a walk with us, you'll just get to go a little bit longer and get inspired thinking about the snowy mountains of Utah. So, who is Crazy Snowshoe Guy? Crazy Snowshoe Guy was born Greg Frei and raised in the Wasatch Mountains in Utah. Greg lives an active lifestyle, and during the summer months, he spends his time hiking, canyoneering, trail running, and mountain biking. But when the snow flies, skiing and snowshoeing become his passion for not only fitness, but also fun. In addition to Greg's active lifestyle, he works 3 jobs. He's a marketing manager for an adventure resort located on the east rim of Zion National Park, Zion Ponderosa. Spoiler alert, if you want to learn more about that, we did record a second episode, and we'll record a third soon about that park. So definitely subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on those episodes. But Greg has 2 more jobs. So his second job is his foundation that he started, the Glowosaurs Foundation, which helps ill and injured children during a time of need. And finally, he is a snowshoe and hiking guide at Snowbird Ski and Summer Resort. Greg, aka the Crazy Snowshoe Guy, welcome to the Fit 15 podcast. I'm excited to have you here.
Hey, welcome. Yeah, welcome all listeners. Catherine, awesome to talk with you again.
Yeah, so we actually met at Snowbird, so that's how this all started.
Yeah, that's right. That was fun. So yeah, like you mentioned, I'm a snowshoe guide up at Snowbird Ski and Summer Resort here in Utah, up in the Wasatch Mountains. And, I just fell in love with the sport of snowshoeing many years ago. And anyways, I ended up hooking up with Snowbird, and that's a long story, but we could probably condense it into your 15-minute chat time.
Sure.
I think that, the coolest thing about that job is that I get to introduce people from all around the world to the snowshoeing extravaganza. Mm-hmm. And I teach them a little bit about, technique and, things that I've learned through all my trial and errors. And, you got a taste of that. I mean, what'd you think of the tour?
I thought it was great. That was my first time snowshoeing, so I mean, I had a lot to learn. My first thing I had to learn was that you come with some snow boots is important. So.
Yeah, I kind of sized you up when you first checked in, and I thought, oh God, I'm in trouble. You come in and you wear your marathon T-shirt, and you had on some really rocking running shoes, and I says, okay, she's going to give me a run for my money, and you sure did. That was fun.
I mean, I had a great time, and I've done cross country skiing before, and it actually, like you mentioned, I am a runner, and I lived in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts for really just over a year, but it snows a lot there, and I mean, I have to learn to slowly love the snow. I'm more of a beach bum than a snow bunny.
Yeah.
That's why I picked up my cross country skis. So I was like, I have to do something outside, if I can't really run safely all the time. But I love that. But it was great. Just kind of
Yeah.
checking out snowshoeing is just a different experience.
So glad you did. And now here we are talking about it. So that's the cool thing about it there too, And, I'll tell you how I got started because I think it's kind of cool to tell
yeah.
that story was, me and my family and my friends, we all grew up here in Utah and all the sports here in Utah kind of went extreme, We're kind of
Sure.
known as the state of sport, whether it's skiing or mountain biking or canyoneering or just sport bike racing, whatever. And my brother-in-law, Chris Campbell, is a 13-time finisher of the Wasatch 100. It's 100 miles of heaven and hell running up and down these mountain peaks through all kinds of condition that takes place here in the month of September of every year. And although I never really got into that because I had just enough common sense to say, whoa, Greg, what the hell are you doing? I was always a crew guy, and I'd rev them up and keep them going, and I got addicted to it myself. It's an addictive sport. It's extreme and it's crazy, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, as we'd run these trails in the summer months, we really got to know our mountains, and over the years, we just kind of just felt right at home, and things kind of went crazy, and we really got into some hard trail running. And winter would come and it'd be skiing for me. And my brother-in-law, who's the runner, he never really had much to do. He didn't like to ski that much. So I don't know why, but maybe it was just he was into running. But we heard about the snowshoeing thing about 25 years ago. And I suggested to Chris, I says, why don't we pick up some snowshoes and give it a try?
Mm-hmm.
And we did. And when we did that, snowshoeing became extreme. I mean, it really did. We were like, we'd hike our trails in the summer months and fall and spring, and we'd scout our lines for what would this look like in the wintertime with 10 feet of snow, 15
Right.
feet of snow, and really kind of.
All right, friends, that's your halfway point reminder if you only have 15 minutes to join us and need to turn around. But I do hope you will come back and listen to the full episode when you have time. We have lots of great chatting points coming your way. All right, back to you, Greg.
Imagine that world. And we'd see these cliffs and these rocks and these boulders and these trees and all these things that would fall over in the forest. And we'd say, man, if that was winter and there was 20 feet of pow, we could hit that and fly and land in nothing but a, bowl of feather light powder.
Yeah.
And so, the next year comes rolling around and we got our snowshoes on and we went up there. And I remember the first time we hit this up in Grizzly Gulch, I really could not believe it. And in fact, there's a picture, on my Instagram, Crazy Snowshoe Guy. There's a picture where I'm kind of flying off this cliff and I'm wearing this cowboy hat and I'm wearing those original tub snowshoes that I got 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and hey, so okay, while we're on that, so anyways, here we are, and it was a rock, paper, scissors to see who'd get to go first, and it was me, and I went first, and I ripped it down this mountain, and I hit that cliff, and I just flew off of that thing, and OMG, I mean, you can read about this in that link on my bio, because I wrote this down because it was too good to not. But, I remember when that happened and when I hit and I landed, I was prepared to bust everything in my body, but it was just like this, it was just like suspended animation hanging in time and space and little crystal flakes of snow coming in all around in the vacuum void that I created flying through this space. And when I landed, it was just like poof. And I disappeared. I literally disappeared. I mean, you could not see me. And, all of a sudden I realized, oh God, nothing's broken. I'm still alive. Woo! Yeah, baby, yeah. And that was it. I was hooked. And snowshoeing for me then just took off. And same with my brother-in-law. And we started doing steeper and deeper and running and just kind of going off on this thing. And And it became my passion and just became my sport in the winter. I mean, I'm a skier. I grew up on skis. In fact, some say I came out of my mother's womb with the skis strapped on, but you know, I still love to snowshoe more than I love to ski.
Wow.
On those powder days,
Yep.
because you experienced that, Catherine. I mean, you know, when you go out for snowshoeing, there's so many different things you can do. I mean, you can run 10Ks, 5Ks, half marathons on snowshoes. Here in Utah, we get a lot of that. And those snowshoes are built for running. They're flexible. They're like those Nike Free shoes that have grooves and cuts in them, and they kind of mold and flex with your feet and your strides. And then
Sure.
you got the snowshoes like we were using up there at Snowbird, which are kind of an all-mountain, all-purpose snowshoeing 101 kind of snowshoe. And they have a little bite to them, and you can kind of get a little more crazy and aggressive. And then you got these snowshoes that I got from this company out of Norway called Thimblevetter. They sponsored me a couple of years ago and
Awesome.
gave me some snowshoes and said, try these out, crazy snowshoe guy. See if you can break them. Well, I tried, and I still got them, and I love them. They're called Thimblevetter tankers and hikers.
Okay.
And they rival right in there with my tubs, which, by the way, I still wear. In fact, I think I had those on when I was with you. But I love these snowshoes they're making now, and there's a couple others out there that are coming on that are opening up new sports of snowshoeing, like where you can kind of ski on them almost, you know.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm hoping to hook up a pair of those and really give them some demos, because then you're bringing in both my loves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. And yeah, no, I mean, you'd have to tell me because we were up there end of March. So what I loved about it was you have kind of like what I love about cross country skiing is that, you know, it wasn't that cold outside but you get to work up a sweat and you have that cool refreshment from the snow, you know, at your feet. But what is it like when it's actually probably cold? Probably gets colder in the middle
Oh,
of the
yeah.
winter?
Yeah, you know, there's some days when it's just like, seriously, you know, but mostly here in the Wasatch, we are real fortunate. We don't have too many freezing cold days below zero.
Okay. Yep.
You'll get a wind chill factor that'll take you down there. But with today's modern gear, I mean, when I zip it up and I got on all my armor and I head out, I don't feel nothing. I'm
Yep.
bulletproof. You know, you just learn to dress. You get the clothing, you get the gear, you go out there, and then what you find is you're working up a sweat, even in
Oh,
below
yeah.
zero. But the trick is fingers and toes. Everything else kind of stays warm. And I got me some nice boots, and I got me some nice gloves, and then everything in between. And yeah, right now in March, I mean, it's snowing monster flakes outside right now here in Salt Lake City.
I saw something about that actually. You know, actually what I saw was an ad, I think for Snowbird, sponsored ad through Facebook saying that they were getting snow. So
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's my favorite time of the year to ski and snowshoe, but mostly ski, because really, you know, I mean, when you get March, it's our wettest month of the year here in the Wasatch Mountains, and we stack up some snow. And one storm like this one coming in right now, we're expecting 2 feet or more
oh,
up there
wow.
at Snowbird, okay? So here's the deal is it's like, you know, you go up there, you hit 2 feet of snow. It's a little heavier because it's a little warmer. It's not that light and fluffy, feathery powder that we're famous for. It's
Okay.
more just pow that's kind of heavy and just like, whoa, you know, you're still, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, rolling around and you're not going to get hurt. It's almost like you got a rubber suit on or something
Yep.
when you're up there, you know, but it's heavier and it takes a little more effort and you really got to be conditioned. But, you know, you've been skiing all winter and now you are conditioned and you just kind of, I don't know, it's a whole different deal. But yeah, here we go. I'll be up there tomorrow. I think I'm going to snowshoe and then go skiing and see how that works out.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, what would you recommend are like the best months for snowshoeing and or skiing, you know, dependent on typical weather conditions up for you guys in Snowbird area?
Well, you know, it all depends on the weather reports and what's going on and really what we get. Because
Sure.
we all watch that, you know, here locally, and we're going, oh, man, perfect storms are brewing, and we'll track that thing in for about a week out, you know, and it'll come out of Reno or California or come in from Idaho. we'll just watch it all the way through. And then what we do is we check with the Wasatch Mountains avalanche forecasting, and then we check in with ski resorts and, things like that, and see really who's getting what, because sometimes these storms swirl around and they dump pow somewhere else. And usually Alta and Snowbird up Little Cottonwood Canyon, just for whatever reason, bring the perfect storms, and that's where it's all at. And that's how Snowbird's able to stay open, later than anybody else in the entire state of Utah, is we get the dumps of pow just like Alta, but we've got snowmaking equipment up there that is second to none. When they throw those guns on, oh man, as long as it's freezing. And so the minute it freezes here in the Wasatch, which is, usually around, November, those guns go on, and they're on for serious business. And what you get is like Sundance Ski Resort, Deer Valley, Park City, they all close up shop. In fact, their last days have already happened. And Snowbird and Alta keep going. And then the very last is Snowbird. And I'll ski up there. I was skiing up there mid-3 week into June last year. So
wow.
I hope to do that again this year. I'm doing it in short pants and Hawaiian lays. Nothing too serious about that, but it's a good time. And you walk more than halfway down the mountain, but you're not there for the serious skiing, because that's in December and January, which brings me back to your question. December and January, they are typically the best months for fresh snowshoeing, fresh powder, really light and fluffy snow. When we start that tour up there at Snowbird and we drop down into what I call the Winter Wonderland tour, usually I'm busting powder chest deep. And
wow, that's a different experience.
Yeah, no, it is. But, as you get further back, like you might have 5 or 6, 7 or 8 people in your group, and by the time it gets back to the 8th person in line, they're knee deep, Yep. And, we try to make it down there. We follow the creek, as you know, and there's just, I don't know. It's like I settle down. I'm calming down, just already thinking about it. It's a winter paradise where the stream flows and the snow's falling silently, and you see all these foot tracks from wildlife. We see porcupines and bobcats and white snow, snowshoe rabbits and deer, and and then you saw how I like to do the little meditation thing along the creek and all that, and it just really puts you into a nice frame of mind for snowshoeing, because usually we're all so aggressive skiing down these mountains. I mean, we're cruising and everything's just flashing by in a split second, and here at snowshoeing, you're like, okay, you can hear the birds, you can hear the creek, you can hear your own heart beating, you get your own rhythm. And that's what I love about it, is it's like, it doesn't have to be extreme, I mean, it can be mellow. It's a yoga kind of thing. And you find your balance out there, whatever you're looking for. And, that's what I love about it, is it just brings me closer to nature and a spiritual side within,
Yeah, and I love that analogy. We'll have to send people to the article that you had too, because just what you said there of just slowing down, a little bit more and taking that time to take in the winter wonderland that you might be cruising by when you're skiing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Awesome. So I know we're going to have you on again to talk about all the things that you do, Greg, but
oh yeah, well, well, we got a while, I mean, we could do this in about a year or two, I don't know, but hey, you reach my passion. Everything I do it because I love it. And if I don't love it, I'm out. That's just that easy.
Yep.
Life's too short. So everything that you listed in my bio, yeah, those are the things that stuck in my world as being priorities in my life. And, I loved meeting you and talking to you about fitness and seeing how you were thinking, wow, because it's really funny because, I got my kids said, oh, Dad, you got to do Instagram. You'd like Instagram, Dad.
Yeah.
and so let me tell you real quick about that. Was like, I was up snowshoeing in Grizzly Gulch, which is mentioned in my bio as one of my favorite places to snowshoe. And there were high avalanche warnings up there, and things were busting loose right and left.
Oh,
And I
geez.
just thought, dang, I ain't going to make this one this day. So me and my brother-in-law, the 13-time finisher of the Wasatch 100, we said, what we going to do? And I says, hey, when I was cruising up here the other day, I noticed down there below Snowbird, just before the White Pine Bridge, some pretty nice granite boulders and things like that. And it's just a nice little mellow area. I think we could just go in there and pop off a few jumps and hang out and just take it easy. And so we did, and we went in there and we found this place, and it was unbelievable. It was just like the winter wonderland, I mean,
Yep.
we're jumping off these granite boulders, and then we're moseying on down by the creek and popping across the creek, crossing these boulders on pillows of snow and doing some log crossings and just really having a good time. And then it was so warm and sunny, we take off our shirts, we sit back, I get in my backpack and pull out my backpacker stove, and I mixed up a pre-made meal earlier and heated up and eat it and hung out in there, and it was so
Yeah.
good. And anyways, I thought, wow, that was nice. And I got home, and something else was going on, and then another storm was brewing, and I checked on the Snowbird website to see what they had got in snow inches and totals, and then I noticed this jobs thing, and I went down to the jobs, and they were looking for a snowshoe guide. Are you kidding me? I wonder what that's like. Well, and I started reading about it, and I thought, that might be perfect. And so I just basically went on their deal on their website, got the application thing, and all I did was attach a photograph of me busting it off this jump up in Grizzly Gulch and hit send. And it was a few days later, and I get this call from Snowbird's marketing and hiring HR department, and they say, is this the crazy snowshoe guy? And I just laughed, and they said, yeah. And they said, yeah. Hey, Greg, we got your photograph. I didn't even know you could do that stuff on snowshoes, but obviously you're doing it. They said, can you do easy? And I'm like, easy? Oh, yeah, man, I can do easy. And they said, here, hired. Come on up. Let's take care of the paperwork, and let's get this going. So anyway, that kind of stuck with me, the crazy snowshoe guy. And that's the Instagram handle I hooked up. And here we go,
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And we'll have to, like I said, we'll definitely have to have you back on, because I'm sure, I'd love to learn more about Zion National Park. That's a place my dad always
Oh,
wanted to go there when we were kids. We never made it out, so we may have to make it with the grandkids now one day after your tips. And then maybe you could tell us too, Greg, about your foundation, just real quick, how people can learn more about that.
yeah. Hey, thanks for that. And, the Glowosaurs Foundation, first of all, they're these glow-in-the-dark dinosaurs that live in this underground world known as Glowhaven. And through the years, the Glowosaurs have learned secrets about life that they secretly share with children, okay? And I wrote and illustrated these children's books and created these T-shirts, and, I got all this stuff going on with it. But the reason I did all that was because of a stroke, an AVM, arterial vascular malformation, that my son had at the age of 9. It changed my life and our lives together forever. And, I was at a point in my life where I had enough. When that was there, I wanted to go and check out of this world and go find out what the hell was going on down here. Why is God doing this to all his children? And what's, if you believe in God, and if you don't, well, then I don't know. I really didn't care at that point. I was going to find out. So I almost took myself out of this life, and that's another story. But things happened, and I did a 180. I flipped right around, and truthfully, it was from a poem written by my daughter, who was at the time 5 years of age, and
Oh, wow.
6 years of age. Let's see, 6 years. Yeah, she was 6, and I just thought, how could a person write that, let alone a 6-year-old? And that was it. I sucked it up and turned it around, and we just got into therapies and working hard, and snowshoeing is one of those sports that keep us all together and keep us doing things. But we fell in love with Zion National Park and had a cabin on the East Rim there, and things were going great for us. And to this day, Zion really has and will and continues to inspire me and to help me keep in mind the big picture and what's important in life, you know?
Sure. No, sure.
Yeah. So anyways, it's nice to be working with Zion Ponderosa Ranch Resort. I'm friends with the family. I've known them for years. They are just some of the most special people on this planet. The ranch that they've created there has something for everyone. I mean, you can go there and stay in a tent and talk to the guides and learn secrets of Zion that you'll never learn anywhere else. Or you can stay in multi-million-dollar houses and everything in between, from Conestoga wagons to glamping tents to cabins and cabin suites, and really connect with your family out in nature in ways that are so cool. It's just hard to describe. They're up there on the east rim of Zion, where you can just stroll out to the cliffs and look down below and just go, whoa. Or, you know, you go down and canyoneer with them, or Jeep tours, or do any of that stuff. But certainly when it comes time to talk Zion, I got a lot to say.
Yeah, no, I
Because
mean,
it's just been so special to me in my life. Like I said, everything I'm doing, the Glowosaurs Foundation and Glowosaurs, you can go to Glowosaurs, like Glow, Glow, O-SARS, O-S-A-U-R-S, like dinosaurs, but Glowosaurs. Go to glowosaurs.com/foundation and learn more about the Glowosaurs Foundation. There's some videos on there and things we do. And that's becoming a reality for me in a way that I can give back. It's like, you know, it's a long story, but when my kid went in for emergency brain surgery, I was beating myself up over why am I just a graphic artist and a writer, and what good are my skills and talents? I should have been a brain surgeon for my son's life.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm not kidding. It was, I couldn't take, oh God.
Can't imagine. I don't have kids of my own, but I have some nieces that that's as close as I can get, and I can't even imagine how it would feel.
No, you can't, and you don't want to know.
Yeah.
But when you're in that situation, the way I found myself with my family, you're in it. And I don't know, you're reading crash course novels on brain surgeries and whatever, just to learn the terms. And oh, believe me. Anyways, so there's that. And out of that came the Glowosaurs, because I just felt like, you know, this is how I can give back. And so with my imaginative stories of the glow-in-the-dark dinosaurs and their underground world, I've created this awesome concept and foundation where, look, I go into hospitals and I'm dressed in a mascot called Hope. And Hope is all glowing. I'm telling you, Catherine, I got LED lights that look like I'm, you know, just glowing from, I don't know. And I come in and I'm escorted through the hospital into these children's rooms that are in a position where they can see visitors, where, you know, they're doing good, they're recovering, their lives are certainly changed, most of these people and most of these families, but they can be great again. And that's the story, is, you know, life changes, things happen, but you can be great, and life is wonderful. And that's what came out of all of this for me. And I give these kids a little miniature Hope stuffed dinosaur and give them a children's book, and I've got puzzles and all these things for them, and stickers and glow-in-the-dark t-shirts. And it's a distraction from the pain and suffering that they're in right now. And let's just face it, a lot of them just want to get out and play with their friends again. And, you know, so this just helps them through that process where they've been through surgeries and all the critical operations, and now they're just waiting for the green light to get out of there. And that's when I come in and kind of light up their world and help out in a way that only I feel I can do. You know, it's that way. But so that's that. And, you know, you kind of got the three things: the snowshoeing, which is why we're talking, the Glowosaurs Foundation, and of course, Zion National Park and Zion Ponderosa. And anytime you want to talk about anything like this, let me know, because, you know, I have to know a few things.
Yeah, no, I love it. And we'll definitely, because I want to know, and I'm sure other people do too. So we'll have to see like what some of their questions are and what we can get out of it. But yeah, no, it's been so great reconnecting. And even though I'm looking at the beach right now, you're probably looking at some snow. So it's kind of funny how that
Yeah.
works, right?
Yeah, I know. It's always the grass is greener sometimes, but we live in our worlds and you make the best of it wherever you are. And I think, I don't know. I mean, certainly I am really grateful and fortunate to have a mindset and a ability to literally be 20 minutes away from my favorite trails, like you can be right to your favorite beach.
Right.
And, and you make the best of your world. And if I were on the beach, if I grew up down there in California or something, I'd be a surfer. I'd be scuba diving. I'd be doing all that stuff, and here I am, though, born in the Wasatch, and so I take up what the mountains deliver, and I have no regrets. It's made me who I am.
Oh yeah, no, I love that, and just being able to explore your surroundings and get to know them better, right?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Greg, and I'll put all the show notes links with all the Instagram and your foundation and more about Zion for in between now and when we get you back on for talking about that. But it's been awesome hanging out again.
Catherine, it has been awesome hanging out with you, and I love what you're doing with Fit Armadillo and having me on this podcast. And I think that you little things happen, little bits and pieces of stories and things in people's lives who you meet, and it kind of helps people, I think, get through the day, like, wow, that was cool and that might be fun and I'll try this and I'll try that. And, something funny too was, like I told you on that snowshoe tour, was, I don't work out. I don't go into a gym and pump iron and do all that stuff. I haven't. And I went up there one day after snowshoeing and sat in the pool in the hot tub, and I thought, I'm going to go in that gym and work out. And what happened in that gym is a whole nother story and segment on your show. But man, was I a fish out of water. It was funny. Anyway, nice talking to you, and thanks again for having me on your show.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, I'm making the episode go longer myself, but I break all the rules right now. But
so do I. God, you found that out.
But don't worry, because it's the reason I have it 15 minutes is I do an episode every day during the work week, and so I just want people to get out there for at least that amount of time to get moving. So try to give them a little carrot of some new story. So it's no big deal. But I do love that you shared that, even if just in passing, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show too is that people often, think about fitness has to be like in the gym. People that don't like it, and it has to be in the gym and, not much fun, but it really can be fun. And, snowshoeing is a great example, and all the other things that you do are great examples. So try to encourage people to try something new, try it more than once. I know I've had the experience of trying things the first time and hating it, and it took a few years to take off. Yeah, no, definitely appreciate you hearing that. It doesn't have to just be in the gym.
Right.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hey guys, it's Catherine. Just wanted to hop back on the show real quick here. I know we're over the 15-minute mark, but I hope you now agree that it was worth it to have Greg on a little bit more and share some of his insights and inspiration beyond just fitness and snowshoeing. Of course, let us know what you think. Share the episode if you enjoyed it. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Just search for the Fit 15. So appreciate that. I hope you're ready now to go to Utah for your first time if you haven't, and go check out Snowbird and hit up and request Greg, the crazy snowshoe guy, when you go for your tour over there. Definitely check out too, Greg has some great pictures on his Instagram account, which I will link in the show notes, of one of my favorite little spots there over in Snowbird now, which is the Cliff Lodge. Super zen, nice space. So in between your snowshoeing and or skiing, you can check that out as well. Wanted to let you know that, as I mentioned in the beginning, or did as a little teaser, that I did record a little bit more with Greg for some quick tips, or as quick as we could be, for Zion National Park, which he had mentioned, and the Zion Ponderosa Resort. So subscribe to the podcast because I'm not going to release that episode tomorrow like I might normally do. I'm actually going to probably release it next week. I did promise you guys that I would share some insights from the Drop 2 Sizes Fitness Challenge related to fitness, since on Monday of this week I gave you some general tips and had so many tips that were non-fitness related and non-workout related that I kind of cut myself short there. So tomorrow I'll share some tips. So even if you can't join us for the Drop 2 Sizes Fitness Challenge, you'll get those. And if you can, it will be a good reminder of what you need to get started. And then subscribe for my next episode with Greg. Send in some questions you have on Zion Park because he will be back again for a more in-depth and some more specific. So if you have anything specific you want to know, let us know. Thanks for listening. And if you subscribe, I will chat with you tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys.